All right, guys, we're coming at you with a little bit of a different one today. So I got my buddy Justin Rankin, and we're gonna get his boat set up. So bass boat performance is something where you really can get a lot out of not having to spend much money if you just take the work. So I'm gonna kind of guide you through that today. What we're looking to do, great hole shot and as good of top end as we can get. So we'll sacrifice a little bit of top end if needed to get a great hole shot. But it's a 2005 Tr20. It's got a 225 Optimax on it. So it's a pretty similar to my boat, just a little bit newer and foot smaller, 25 horsepower less. So we got 3 props we're gonna try. There's a Tempest, we got a 4-blade Trophy, and then we got a Fury. So between the 3 of those, I think that's probably gonna get it done, but we'll see what we can do. The baseline on it, we ran it this morning with 65 miles an hour at 5,500 RPM. So we're just looking to beat that. And anything above that is a bonus. So see what we can get. So when you're setting up a bass boat, there's a few things that you kind of have to have in order to do it most successfully. So first and foremost, you need to know what the prop to pad measurement is. So if you go down to the very bottom of the boat, down where the plug is, you're gonna wanna park the boat on a level piece of concrete where you can measure to the concrete. And then you level your motor out back here, and you're gonna measure to the middle of the prop shaft. And then the difference of that is gonna be your prop to pad measurement. So right now this boat is set at 3 3/8 below pad, which I think is gonna be a little bit too deep, and that's why we're here today, is to kind of critique that and make that run better. So knowing the prop to pad is very important. If you look on forums like Bass Boat Central, you can kind of get a feel for what other people are doing for your specific boat, and that can be a quick way to kind of cut down the learning curve on that. But I would recommend starting with that. So you need to know your prop to pad measurement. And then if you just add a few little marks on the jack plate here, you can kind of see exactly where you're at. And as you lift it or lower it or whatever you need to do, you have a reference of where you were, and you can always move it back to it if need be. The other thing you're gonna need is a working water pressure gauge, which we have right here. You're gonna need a working tachometer so you know how many RPMs it's turning. And then you need GPS to know what your speed is. So that's kind of the basics there. That just gives you metrics to follow. So water pressure, you never want to go below around 15 pounds at running speed there. So above 15 pounds is optimal. So you need to know that, so that if you raise your motor too high on that drop, so you can get that drop back down before you're overheating and things like that. The RPMs, you want to cater that to what the max RPMs is on your motor. So this specific example, it's rated to 5750. Really, the range we're trying to get this to land in is somewhere between 5500 and 5700. It is the summer right now, so this is going to be basically the worst it's ever going to run, and it's only going to get better from here. So if we're down more of around the 5500 range, then that's okay for now, because it's going to pick up RPMs once winter rolls around and it gets a little bit quicker. So that's all right if we're there. And then another thing, you want to have it loaded how you normally use it. So if you run it at a half tank of gas with all your tackle, 20 rods in it, when you're working on the setup, you want to run it like that as well. So you don't want to be sitting there and just change everything all of a sudden, add a full tank of gas and change the whole way you use the boat when you're trying to set it up for the way that you use it 90% of the time. So that's something that's important too. So another thing, like if you're using this for a tournament and you always fish with 2 people, just make sure you're trying to do it with 2 people. If you set it up perfect for when you're running by yourself, and then you go and run it and there's 2 people, it might not run as good, and you might have been able to adapt that better by having 2 people in there. So just run it exactly how you would normally run it 90% of the time. That's what you want to do. What you're looking for as far as performance, so you're going to want to run it kind of at a baseline. So as you go, you just keep statistics of what it was. So mark your speed down, mark what the RPMs were, water pressure, and then when you raise or lower the jack plate, you can get another track, and it's like, all right, by doing that we gained a mile an hour, or maybe we lost a mile an hour, maybe now the whole shot's not good. And that helps you really refine it to where you can see where the line was, where it was the best, and then you go until you kind of cross the line, and then one of those metrics is out of whack and you have to go back. Generally, raising the motor is going to make the boat run faster. There is a tendency of, if you do get too high, you can kind of start to fight some hole shot issues, but not always. The hole shot is going to be most dictated. Most of the props these days are going to have these vent holes. So what this does is this allows some exhaust gas to vent through, and and that allows the prop to slip in a controlled manner. So it allows it to slip and the RPMs build up, and then that allows the prop to get, or the boat to get on pad pretty quick. So you can really fine tune these. If you're going and it's kind of just over revving and trying to blow out, then you might need to add more plugs in here. This one right now has 2 empty plugs and 2 small plugs. If you're going and it's really kind of lugging and you're just not building RPMs, then you can pull some of these plugs out, and that should build RPMs faster and it should get on pad faster. So the plugs are really going to be how you fine tune the whole shot. And then other than that, it's just you got to go drive it. You want to do it when it's good, nice, calm conditions if possible. The rougher it gets, it just starts to make your data not as good. And if you're riding in the wind and things like that, keep that in mind as well. So if you have to go into the wind, go one way. When you're coming back, go the other way, and then just kind of take an average so you know what it's actually running. But I mean, that's pretty much it in a nutshell. So we'll see how we get it running today, but I think we're going to definitely gain some performance. So like I said, 65 was the baseline. We're looking to beat that, and we want to have a good hole shot. So we'll see if we can get it done. So we gave each one of those props an initial test. It looked like so far the trophy was a little bit better performing. It's probably a mile or maybe a half mile an hour faster. The whole shot was a little bit better. So that seems to be kind of the front runner for the moment, but they're close. So we're gonna go ahead and raise the jack plate now. So the initial setting on this was 3 3/8 on prop to pad. We're gonna raise it to 3 now and see what it does. My hunch is the higher we go to an extent is gonna help. So I think we're gonna get probably more performance, a little bit more speed on this next go around, but we'll see how it goes. And then one little quick tip, we're out here on the lake. Obviously we don't have the perfect metrics to get perfect measurements and everything like that. So I just threw a couple quick little marks on the jack plate where we can kind of use those as reference lines. So as we go up, we can just kind of know like roughly about how high we go as we do it. So just a quick little way to make it easier. So I feel like we're on the right track now. So we eliminated one prop. The Tempest just wasn't quite as quick as the trophy, and the whole shot wasn't quite as good. So we're gonna take that one off the list. But when we did raise the motor up, the boat seemed to perform significantly better. So it just felt more free. It felt like it was supposed to feel. So when it was running a little bit lower, it kind of was doing this weird duck walk thing where the back end wanted to scoot out a little, which didn't really feel right, but feels a lot better. So we're gonna go ahead and raise the motor another 3/8 of an inch or so, and I think we're gonna gain a little bit more speed, but we did gain about a mile an hour by raising that there, and we're on the right track. So far the trophy is the best hole shot, kind of just good performing all around. Justin did have a Fury as well, which is what he was running before. That one's the quickest, but it's a little bit too much pitch and it doesn't seem to want to get out of the hole as good. So raising the motor might help that, and that might make the best balance, but we'll see once we change it. We've got pretty much all the data we need as far as top end goes now. So now we're trying to work on the hole shot. We took the plugs out of this prop on the last test and kind of was blowing out a little bit. The RPMs were too high. So now we're putting the plugs back now with the raised motor as high as it's been, and the plugs return to the prop, and we're gonna see if that fixes it. I think it's probably gonna, but you never know. The motor might be a little bit too high too, so that's what we're trying to eliminate. Ready? All right, guys, so the end result was we got some good data. So the Tempest really didn't perform like I thought it would. Honestly, I thought that was going to be the best one out of the gate, and it ended up being the worst. So slowest one, hole shot wasn't as good as the Trophy. It was kind of, it works, but it wasn't the best. The Fury was by far the fastest, and at the end of the day, it had a pretty comparable hole shot to what the Trophy was. So we didn't really think that was going to be the case. That was the original prop that Justin was running, and it just kind of had a bad hole shot, but I think a lot of that could have been being a little bit too deep too. So at the end of the day, I think we got 68 miles an hour out of the Fury, had a decent hole shot. I think we could probably go one tick higher with it, and it still might gain some performance. It gained about a mile an hour every time we raised it. So all in all, I mean, I think we've made some good progress. The boat drives much better now. So when I first started driving it, it was doing this weird thing where it just felt like the prop was kind of trying to push the back end out. As we raised the motor out, there wasn't as much prop kind of fighting the water there. It got a lot smoother and it drove a lot better. So, I mean, I think we made some good progress today, and I think it's driving overall a lot better. I think its performance is going to be a lot better. I think we did what we set out for. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I know this one was a little bit different, but I like going fast. I really enjoy bass boat, so this is just a fun way to kind of build on some bass boat knowledge and see if we could improve some speed here, and fun day out here. So stay tuned for the next one.